Hey, good morning. 9:05 roughly on the dot. So let's get this thing going. Our theme for the day is Alien Insectoid Concept Speedsculpt. Speedsculpt. Enunciate. Enunciate, my friend. Alright. So, let's just switch on over to Zbrush, or as my friend Ben, who was in the chat yesterday, would say, Zbrush. That always cracked me up. I am Americano, and he is Australian, and we used to work together and stuff, and I would hear him say Zbrush all the time, and every time I hear somebody say Zbrush, my brain goes straight to Pulp Fiction, and I hear, Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. I know, I'm a simple creature. Alright, so we want to think Insectoid this morning. Insectoid. And whatever I do here, it may end up in a future project. Some stuff on deck that, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Also, I want to give a little shout out this morning to I don't know if I should call it a network, an organization, a group. I'm not sure what to actually call it. There's a thing called Artpreneurs, and it's an amalgamation of artists and entrepreneurs, meaning artists who are seeking to take on an entrepreneurial sort of mode, which is kind of the point. It's like a thing about helping artists become entrepreneurs, thus parlaying their art over into an entrepreneurial state of mind. And Aris, Aris, I haven't actually spoken her name out loud. Who's the founder and organizer of this thing. She's super cool, putting a lot of effort into this. And so if you just look it up, art ARTPENEURS, Artpreneurs. You look that up, like Google it or look it up on Facebook or whatever, and you should find it. And after I finish this up, I'll probably grab a link to it from somewhere and throw it into the description on this. So really cool stuff coming up with that should help people from a lot of different creative walks, whether it's art, music, writing, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, interesting stuff. It's been around for a minute, and I recently got involved with it, and I'm kind of excited to see what we can do for people. So that said, let's grab a sphere, toss that on the canvas, and I will cut it with the yuck yucks. Make a poly mesh out of that. Hit X so I get some symmetry going. And we're going to Dynamesh it. I need to hook that. I need to hook my mic mute up to a key command so I can do that whenever I need to clear my throat. Haven't done that yet, obviously. All right, so we've got Symmetry on, and I want to think in terms of silhouette for something. And let's go. Let's just start pushing and pulling and see where it leads. I'm kind of thinking about a beetle sort of thing, like a real carapace. Interesting thing about doing this with Sculptress mode turned on, you can use the move brush to push and pull, which is going to cause the stretching, but then you hold your smooth key and it just fills that in with some raw topo, raw triangles. And even though it's total garbage topology, if you wanted to animate it or do a lot of stuff where the actual digital asset's going to be manipulated, with rigging or whatever, it still creates a nice shape that, that kind of thing is actually fine for going to 3D printing, doing collectibles and whatnot. So, and it's really nice to be able to just pull this. If we pull it like that, then we sculpt on that, there's not enough resolution there. But if I smooth back over it, it adds that resolution in. So that's really super cool. So I'm liking this shape here. I want to sort of anthropomorphize. There we go. Let's practice that word. Anthropomorphize. I want to anthropomorphize some kind of a beetle idea. Or it's going to starting out as kind of a beetle, but I like the backs on those things. I like the shell, and I like the pitch that they have. So now let's come in here and start working up something. Just getting some general shape kind of knocked in underneath it. Okay. Yeah, we got a couple folks in the chat this morning. I see Roman there. Sean is back. Hey, Sean, good morning. Reggie is here. Reggie Hicks. Ain't seen him in a minute. Hey, Gina. I ain't talked to Gina in a while. Gina actually house sat for me about a year ago. A little over a year ago. Listen to her in the chat. Seriously, with the big words this morning. Yes, Gina, I have a vocabulary. She's always picked on me for that. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not. No, I take that back. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. We're all grown, intelligent people here. We can do that. Let's see. Trying to decide if I want to add kind of a tail to this at all. And I want to kind of play around with it. I mean, I could go super simple, and that would be effective. But it's weird. Like, I want to really make sure that I add a lot of cool elements, of course. But I'm also trying to treat this as a speed sculpt, so it has to be fast. So how we go about that, I don't know. There's lots of different ways to sort of approach that sort of thing. Let's think about right in here. Okay. And then I do think I want to add some kind of a tail to it. And yeah, sometimes I make stupid mouth noises. I'll be sitting here and be like, meow, while I make a stroke across stuff, because I'm like a little kid playing with this crap. Alright, now let's switch off to my favorite of the new tools is the mesh balloon. And then let's just put a little something on here. And then re-dynamesh it. We'll take that volume and start playing with it a little bit. Right now it looks too animalish. Too much like a mammalian animal of some sort. So let's go in here and start carving away on that. And then smooth it back. And I want to add some more to it. Just do some really wild shape. Make that brush larger, and that will cause that to smooth faster and actually kick out some mesh resolution. Let's see. And then let's grab a mask lasso and we'll, you know what? No, let's go back to a mask pen. There. 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 3, 4. And there we get this immediate segmented look on that thing. Now I'm gonna smooth back over it. Okay. Then Snakehook does some neat stuff in Sculptress mode. Let's take that back to about there. Oh, I kind of like that. I was actually thinking about like a single stinger on the end, like a scorpion. But being that it is kind of an alien concept I'm putting together here, I kind of like that idea. See, that's one of those things that happens sometimes when you're doing this stuff, where you might do something from one angle, and then you switch to another angle, and it just totally informs some other thought that you just did not have. Let's bulb that up so that let's think about that having like some kind of a reservoir for poison or whatever. I think that's kind of cool. I really like the dual stinger. Like that shape is just making my brain go to work now. What if we added a barbing off the bottom of it here? Like, it's just a very interesting shape now. So I'm going to explore that shape a little bit, because I'm thinking that that is going to really inform where I want to go with the rest of this. It seems like a kind of an indicator of what this thing wants to be. So I am trying to make sure that I pop over, like I'm looking at the chat from time to time while I'm working in here. So if y'all have any questions or thoughts or whatever, let them fly. Let them fly. Let's hear what you got. I would also ask you kind folks who are here, if you would, you don't gotta, it's, still semi-free world we live in to some degree. But if you would, like and share and subscribe and all that grooviness that comes with the whole social media space, because that just helps me out quite a bit. All right. Now, be careful, because I'm really hooked into this shape right now, and I'm going to end up bogging down in it and not getting more of a completed creature concept together here if I let myself indulge too much in exploring this for too long. So I want to try to wrap up this area as quickly as I can, just dropping some lines and things in that'll sort of be there to inform me later if I want to come back to it. I do like these ridges going into things here. I think that adds a pretty cool look to things. Repeated shapes in a creature like this, having a shape, even if it's just a set of strokes you pull off with your hand at one point, while you're playing around with shapes, you can find these things and you just repeat them a little bit. It starts to create a kind of a motif, a shape, a theme that you can carry on and help inform where you're going with the rest of it. A lot of times people ask me, where do you come up with these ideas? And I'm like, dude, half of it's like a Rorschach test. It's like I'm just willing to spit something crazy out that really doesn't mean anything until I look at it and go, oh, this is what I see there. And then I push a little further into what I see, push a little further into what I see. And pretty soon, other people can see it too. And it's like, sometimes I do start off with a complete vision of something. And that's kind of cool when that happens. But also, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to just jump in with something like this. Go, okay, here's the ball. Now let's pull it this way. Let's pull it that way. And really, it's like a Rorschach test. Like you're creating your own Rorschach test. And then following through with it as you define it. And that's a lot of fun. Alright, let's make that part kind of meaty. Yeah, I like that. Feels like, you know, folds and sinews and... Hell, this could be some kind of a kaiju. Gina says there's more than one nowadays, isn't there? Snake brush. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of different snake hook brushes, and they work differently when you're in sculptress mode too. They actually add mesh as you pull. Let's see, Sean says, I trip myself up trying to do things like this sometimes. I get too left-brained trying to have purpose or meaning instead of just letting go and exploring creatively. Yeah, sometimes you just have to... I liken it to thinking like a kid, which I'm like, sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, you're so talented or you're so smarted. I'm like, no, dude, I'm freaking stupid. I'm ignorant. And I like to play. I mean, that's at the heart of everything for me is play. You know, if I can't play, then I'm not happy. And that's what things boil down to. Like, I would rather spend the time playing and then give it a reason after the fact. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know if everyone's necessarily... We're all wired differently in the brain. So, you know, I mean, some folks aren't comfortable with flying so wild like that. Although I really do encourage trying to allow yourself that kind of freedom. Anyone who knows me knows how much like freedom in so many things is such a big theme throughout my life, and especially in my creativity and my art. You know, like I want to be free, and always just free to let those ideas fly. And, you know, it can get kind of goofy philosophical in a way, but like the way I see it, my mind is this giant blank infinite space that I can go soaring out into and just find whatever I find there. It's not empty. I just don't know what all's there. And the only way to know what's there is to slap something down, whether it's on paper or on a canvas or on a board or on a computer screen, slap something down, start messing with it, and then it's like you're pulling something out of that ether, but you have to be willing to just go flying out into the unknown to do it. I know it sounds, you know, people are like, oh yeah, whatever, you know, it's all hooba-jooby, and you know, it's like he's getting super woo, but it's really not, you know, it's really not. And as I've gotten older and explored more psychology and things like that, so that's something, by the way, you know, if you're looking to be a professional artist or writer, for God's sakes, get into some psychology, because it will really help you gain an understanding of what it is you're trying to do, and there's no way that doesn't help you. So as I've learned more through the years, you know, it's like I've started to really come to understand what it is that I do that sort of makes me tick in that way. And having that in mind is really, really helpful. It's like you could go hiking someplace that you know, and you're probably going to have a path that you follow, and it's going to be cool. You're going to enjoy it, but you've seen it before. Whereas I like to go, and for the record, I do like hiking. You know, I like to go hiking someplace I've never been, where I don't know the terrain, And, you know, I have to explore. That explorative nature is really important to me. Yeah, I'm really digging that. I like the spines up the back. Again, this is almost dino looking in a way, but it could it has some insect feeling. It also has a little bit of dinosaur sort of feeling. I think you can tell that I really dig Godzilla. Godzilla movies. You know, it reminds me of maybe Gamera or some of the... Reminds me of a bunch of different kaiju, actually. And that's a super cool aspect of it. I really dig that stuff a lot. I need some concept for limbs. So let's squeeze this in, give some space here where these limbs might reach. And I'm thinking we'll do some repetition for the first two sets, and maybe the legs will get something different. This also reminds me a little bit of a D&D creature called an Umber Hulk, and a couple other critters in D&D like that. So let's go. Right in here. And let's expand that up a little bit. Push that in. From there and there. Let's see how we're looking on polygroups here. Don't know if I want to dynamesh this or not. Cool, we didn't really lose anything dynameshing it, so that's good. Might make this a little easier to work with in some ways. And since this is a symmetrical creature, every once in a while I might delete by symmetry and just look at half of it. And then that also can allow me to use some of these tools, like the slicing. So, like, I could make these cuts. Let's just hide all that stuff there. So maybe this runs a little faster. Okay. And then let's take this right here. Hit Control E. We'll do an edge loop around it. And then, even though this is kind of garbage topology we're working on at the moment, I can still use my Z modeler, do an extrude polygroup all, and pull like a really clean shell off of that. And then if I hide that stuff, like if I show just that shell, expand once, and I'm still with extrude polygroup all on, then I can do that. And see, I get that sort of a sleeving shape off of that. So I don't know how much of that I'm going to keep, but it definitely gives me something interesting there to work with for the moment. Let's turn off. Well, you know what? Let's just mask that. And still in sculptress mode. So let's take a damn standard brush. Let's turn that off for a minute. And just start adding some sort of definitional lines in here. Kind of sinew this up a little bit. Alright. Yeah, let's take a standard brush with Sculptress turned off and use that to, with an Alt key held down, to sort of squeeze some of this stuff in. I like the look of that. Hey, Pete's in here. Peter, what's up, man? I like hiking on the moon, dude. I know. I can imagine how you're hiking on the moon. I don't know. I don't want to know what kind of psychedelics it's taken to allow that, man. Let's see. Sean says, how you do the legs? We'll push it bug or dino. Let's see. Gina asks, when does actual fall start in Kentucky? Let's see. Fall. Well, we almost always have what they call Indian summer, is where like around the end of August into September, we'll have like 2-3 weeks that feel like fall, and then we'll get another 2 or 3 weeks to a month that gets super hot again. So it's a little weird. Technically, I guess fall kind of starts here in October, but it goes back and forth. So that's hard to say. Let's see now. Let's come back out here. Where are we at? Let's pop back into Sculptress mode. Brush over some of this, get some smoothing, get some more resolution where I extruded that. And it looks like we got a hole coming in there. That happens sometimes, but we'll get rid of that in a bit. Let's mirror and weld. And then we'll close holes. Turn symmetry back on. Interesting. I may have to dynamesh it to get rid of that hole. Yeah, definitely. There we go. All right. Now let's play with this limb shape here a little bit more. Again, I'm doing a lot of spitballing here because I don't have a defined direction, and that's kind of nice for me right now. Let's do that so we can hopefully dynamesh these into a new shape that will be more conducive to something interesting. So I know, let's see, Gina, Peter, I think Sean out there in the chat. It's like from both being friends with Pete and Gina, I know they're artists. I think Sean from some of his comments is an artist. So you guys who are artists who are watching this, if you're watching it, leave it in the comments. If you're in the chat right now, popping in the chat, what kind of stuff are you working on these days? And Pete, I know you got links, man. Share your links for people. For those who don't know, Pete, who I keep referring to, Peter Palmiotti, is kind of he's a veteran of the comic book business. Super cool dude. And yeah, really good to see you on here, Pete. He's my brother from another mother who moved to Kentucky. He's actually in Kentucky, which blows my mind. He moved here from Brooklyn. I think it was Brooklyn, right? And after having, he'd been in the comic book business for a long time and stepped away for a minute and moved out to Kentucky from Brooklyn, which is always amused me because I left Kentucky at 19 to go to New York to start my career as a comic book artist. I don't know if I think he left a few years after I got there, but yeah. That's always amused me. I might break these limbs off and do them as separate subtools. I feel like that's probably not a bad idea. Yeah, let's do that. Let's close those holes up. We'll go down to here, and we're going to close those holes up. And then I'm going to mask that area and extrude it a bunch of times. Blur my masking, and then smooth it. That way we get kind of a nub in here. So this isn't, it's very kind of neat. Like if I'm doing a sculpt that's going to go to a collectible or something that's 3D printed, I do that a lot. I'll segment things off and then key them together so I can make more interesting designs that just get glued together. Let's see. Gina says, how the hell do you go from Brooklyn to Kentucky? Yeah, Brooklyn. Yep. See, Sean says these days I'm working on sci-fi art level kit. I'm planning on being my first product for Daz Studio. Sweet, sweet. Well, maybe sometime I'll do a stream where we talk about like creating products for Daz Studio and things like that, because I got more experience with that than I care to think about sometimes. Yeah, Genus is not knocking Kentucky, by the way. When I went to visit Les, I have to say I was impressed by how beautiful it actually is. Dude, I that's a rabbit hole I'll go down and talk about anytime because I love it here. I grew up here. I've seen, you know, a good amount of the country. I have not been outside the United States just yet, but I've seen a lot of the country, and I know a lot about the world in general. And I'll tell you, I love Kentucky. Love it so much. Yeah. That's a thing. That's a big, big thing for me. Growing up, I used to hear my dad say, you know, you can take the boy out of Kentucky, but you can't take Kentucky out of the boy. And he was absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. As I got out into the world, you know, it had its use for me. It was interesting. It was cool to visit, all that kind of stuff. And I still like to go places and travel. But, yeah, at the end of the day, I won't come home to Kentucky. Just the fact that I can, like, step out on my front porch right now, look to my left, and be looking at the Daniel Boone National Forest is pretty damn sweet. It's nice to live in a place where your neighbors say hi instead of, you know, everybody looking at each other all suspect on shit. Okay. Let's add. How are we doing on time? All right, I got about 15 to 20 minutes left that I can plug on this, so let's go here. And we'll Dynamesh all that together. I don't shamelessly plug it enough, so while the thought has crossed my mind, I'm going to say, you know, if you're in the chat, or you're watching this, and you're unfamiliar with it, which I should probably just start popping links out there. I do have a comic/graphic novel out called Apocalypse Girl. That is from SourcePoint Press. You can get the trade paperback now for $19.95. The low price of $19.95. And anyone who knows me knows what a labor of love that thing has been, and how proud I am to have it out. And I really think folks would dig it. I mean, obviously I do, or I wouldn't have made the damn thing. Let's go to the lasso. Doot. Doot. Come back here. I lost some resolution on that. I want it back. Actually, I don't want to have the two like that. I want to move this shape a little bit here and here. Now let's kind of run this stuff together with some stuff that might feel like tendons or something. Okay, I'm digging that. Can't fixate on it too long on a time frame here. So let's do what's a good way? What's gonna be a good way to do some fingers or something out of this? A couple of somethings. Let's go with mesh balloons. Let's go to a side. Pull something like that off. And then we're going to turn it. Go that way with it. Okay. Now let's create an indentation there that could be a joint. Then an indentation there that could be a joint. Okay. Then let's add some. No, come back here. Some of that and pull that back a little bit, maybe. Not sure. Just want something that breaks that shape up a little bit. For those who might not know, because I do think that I get a fair amount of people like checking stuff out who are not into the 3D stuff necessarily, and just watch like out of my comic book stuff. This program that I'm in is called Zbrush. It is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I spend stupid amounts of time in this. Have spent stupid amounts of time in this program for a very long time, and find that it is probably the single most empowering damn program I've ever seen. Like, even in my comics, I actually do a lot of I'll do concept sculpts of creatures for my concept comics. I'll do character pieces, like character sculpts that are like maquettes that I will use as references for in comic, you know, in on page artwork that makes my stuff super consistent, which is a big deal to me. I like consistency in my on page art. And it also is allowing me to now do my own collectibles. So before too long, there are going to be Apocalypse Girl collectibles available, which I don't know any other comic book creator who also does 3D and produces their own collectibles, but that's about to be a thing. And my publisher's super stoked about it. We've got a number of things coming together with that. I have more machines on the way that will be used for producing said materials. And yeah, this is a lot of cool stuff going on. So I'm just going to throw some kind of random shaping on here to help just sort of keep sort of like a visual shorthand for where I might want to go in the future with this. It is just a concept, so I need to not labor too long on that. Let's come in here, create. Let's see here now. Let's throw another one of these in here and just turn it a little bit. And then let's make a shorter one. It's going to go on the underside here. Like that. So, yeah, in the end, I would probably go back through and actually just resculpt those fingers separately. I do need a head on this thing. So, let's grab all of this right here. Let's just duplicate the subtool, and then I can move that down. There we go. Oh. Weird. It is not wanting to reset my orientations. Huh. That's really odd. Alright, Zbrush. So you're going to be a punk today, huh? When is he? I love Zbrush, but sometimes it really can be a punk. There it goes. Ah, I had it pinned. Derp. User error. It almost always is user error when there's an issue like that. Alright. Now we need some legs on this thing. Let's go through and scale the whole thing down, though. All the subtools. Because I feel like it's getting a little large for the ZBrush canvas. I tend to look at that square in there if I turn the floor on and kind of keep that in mind as a general space. It's not so much a space that's like defining the size of the creature as much as it is just a space that I know ZBrush works well with. So we can also do some little proportion changes like that to all the subtools at once. It's pretty handy. So let's pop back over the chat for a second. Let's see. Sean says, loving how that claw is developing. Thank you very much. Right. So where are we going to go now? I need a leg design. Need a leg design to pop in here. So let's go here, 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 here. I'm just going to blast in this huge shape. Let's do it with symmetry off, and then I'll break it off into its own deal. There we go. Now let's just split hidden. Down here. Mirror, mirror weld. I have certain things docked into my UI that just make life so much easier. What we can do here too that I think is going to be very advantageous and speed this whole thing up is if I turn on local symmetry and come in here and work with this symmetrically, since we are going kind of insectoid here, that is the goal, then we can do a lot with symmetry turned on. So let's smooth some of that back. And then let's create some shape in here that seems like something that could be kind of a hinge on a joint. Okay, and then let's continue the sort of shell around that up into here. And then run some lines out of that. Okay, I like that. I like where that's going. Like that. There we go. Run back with that right there. And I am just swinging wild here. Swinging wild. Doing this stuff on a time frame really does make you, it forces you to be like, okay, I've got to get shapes down. I got to get these things down. I got to get something in there. Something, something, something. And it's actually really cool because it makes you, it just makes you start swinging. You know, you have to come out swinging. Otherwise, you can just sit there for long periods of time overthinking it instead of just letting your hands take off, you know, building something. Let's see. Sound like right here, I'm going to pull that thing back. And let's go right here, maybe. I feel like it needs something right there. Let's grab... Okay, I see where I'm going to go. I think I see where I'm going to go. I know where I'm going to try to go. Let's go there. So, let's come in here and create some space. Throw a little resolution down here. And then I'm gonna dig a hole right here. Dig a hole right here. Pull some stuff out there. I'm probably going to go over my time just a little bit on this, but I really like the concept so far, and I have a client who I think will probably love it, and so it will probably be worthwhile to me. Probably be something that's worth hanging on to, developing out, and taking to a client. So that's a good thing. That's always a good thing. So that's how I pay the bills. That's how we pay the bills up in here. Okay. So now let's just go back upstream or downstream, I guess. Yeah, downstream. And let's grab... Let's auto group all those so that we can grab one of them. And then I'm going to swing it around here and just hit B. I'm going to create an insert mesh from this. B. I said B. I hate the way those menus want to disappear sometimes. All right. So then we should be able to come back down here now. And I'm going to drag one of that guy right into the center. And I'm going to scale it up. Oop. Ah, no. No, what are you doing to me here? Oh, it's freaking out. It's freaking out. That's not cool. Let's pull that back over here. Turn it over. Still have that turned on. There we go. Mirror and weld. Yay. So now that's nice and symmetrical. And then I'm going to fatten it up like that. And push this in a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really caring about that. Actually, I kind of like how having that get some width to it helped it out a bit. Okay. Let's switch this off to an H polish. Come back here. Turn that off for a minute. Turn it back on. Let's do a little clay polish on that. Might help kind of solidify that shape a bit. No, it did not. It actually hurt it a great deal. So no, that's going to be a no. All right. Do I have symmetry on? No. Good. Because I want to be able to pull that over here. Drop a transpose right there. Use that to push it in. Then I'm going to scale that in just a touch. Okay. There's that. Now we're going to, whoop. Not cool. Not cool. Why is it doing that to me? It's doing that to me because it is breaking that off. Okay. Breaking that symmetry off there. So let's just temporarily pull this guy down here. And then okay, I can live with that. So now I can turn that symmetry back on, rotate him, pull him up in here. Okay. Now if I turn that local symmetry off and I mirror and weld, I'm going to get both legs. And proportions are a little wonky on those. I'm not caring for that, so let's scale that up a bit. And let's grab a move brush and just tweaky-deek this stuff out a little bit here. Thicken that up, push it up into that cavity some more. Alright, let's unhide those. So there we are with that. Hey, Brent's in here. See Brent in the chat. I need to put a head on this thing. That's the part that's kind of driving me nuts. It's like, why does this not have a head on it? Why is there no head on here? I do think that I want to just kind of pull it out of this stuff. So let's go back to my mask lasso. And let's make a group out of that. and start playing with the overall shape with clay buildup. I kind of want something, I'm thinking with some big eyes on it. Let's protrude this a little bit. Yeah. Oh, that's looking kind of buggy. Yeah, dig that. Dig that. Just dynamesh that back again. Now we can smooth some of these things in. Really getting a nice defined shape. Yeah. I'm digging this now. This is really starting to take on some character. Starting to sort of... It's getting to this point. Now, I always love it when a creature design gets to this certain point where it kind of tells you what to do. Yeah, I'm really feeling good about this. Mm-hmm. All right. Sorry if I get a little quiet there. I'm just kind of really hitting the point where this thing's coming together, and it gets kind of hypnotic for me at that point. All right. Let's go grab a sphere. And I'm going to use a regular polysphere. Actually, no. Am I going to use a polysphere? or a tetrasphere. Let's do a tetrasphere. And then that's going to push in there and become some eyes. I'm going to split that away. And I'll come in and look at these because this could be really handy. And I'll say that because I kind of want to go ahead and get some shape in here. Polygroup all. And do something super cool with this for these bug eyes. Now let's extrude polygroup all. Let's extrude that again, very, very shallowly. And then inset, polygroup, inset, region, standard. Let's turn smooth, let's see. Actually, let's turn on dynamic subdiv. We're going to turn the flat subdiv up to, go up 3 with that. Then we can apply that. Let's see what happens when I go down, go up. Good, good. There we go. There's that. And let's polish that once. I like that. Let's see how far down in subdivs can we go before it dies. And well, we can go all the way down. Sweet. Okay. Now then, let's come back through and look at these mandibles. All right. I feel like those could close up and go right into this little slit right here, like they'd fold over and up. I think that's kind of a cool way to approach that. Let's give this the hint of like more layering right through here. kind of looking at this and thinking directions that things would pull in, and that's how I'm making my decisions about where to place these shapes and striations. Yeah, these would definitely sit up in there. I wonder if this had like multiple areas inside here. Yeah. I want some damn teeth in it. Let's do that. Let's come in here with a mask pen. There we go. That's almost cooler than teeth. These little tendrils. I'm going to stick with teeth. There we go. Yeah, that's the way to go with that. Okay. I feel really good about that. I feel like there's some elements of some classic ideas in it. Maybe some D&D influence in it. I'm getting some influence, actually, of some creatures I remember from old late 70s Battlestar Galactica, which I'm a huge fan of. All right. Well, let's just go back up to here. Set this to that blend mode. I think that's pretty good for Speed Sculpt for the morning. So we got about an hour, a little less than an hour on it when you figure in some of my chit chat. Oh, Gene asked, what's the best method to get a hold of me? Well, Facebook's pretty good. Email's pretty good. Yeah, that's probably the best things, Facebook or email, or reach out to my significant other who you know. So there's that. Let's see here. All right, let's do a quick turntable. And we're going to change modifier on the turntable to 3 spins and 600 frames. I said I want 3 spins. Let's do 1200 frames so it keeps spinning for a minute. And let's do 6 spins. All right. That way I can chit chat for a second while it's doing that. All right. So there's the morning alien concept Speedsculpt Insectoid thingy. I think it's fun. It's not like a super serious kind of alien. I guess it could be. I mean, I could probably flesh it out and add more stuff to it and push it. I can see, as it does a turntable, I can see things that I would like to do with it just to add more to its bulk. I'd probably increase the torso bulk quite a bit. Laterally, like make it wider. Kind of drive the torso area back more towards that beetle theme that it started out with. Where would we go from there? I'd probably change the middle set of arms to be a little more slender. I don't know. Or actually, one of those sets of arms I would go more slender with, because right now they're a little repetitive. I'd probably take the top set and make them a little more slender, smaller, so that they're more vestigial sorts of things that, like, their whole job is just putting things up to its mouth, whereas the ones in the middle are for heavier lifting. Let's see. Yeah, those are, might actually make the tail smaller. Tail's a little obnoxious right now, I think. But, you know, that's concepting. That's what concepting's all about. You know, you get in there and you start slinging shapes, playing with things. What's funny is I spent all that time developing the body, and my favorite part's the head. My favorite part is the last thing that I did was that head. It was like I needed to develop all of that body just to find that face, that wild, crazy face. And now that I have that face, I want to go back and address the body and change stuff to bring all of that into something that feels more like it goes with that head. So, but again, you know, that's what it is. That's playing. You play around with the concepts. You know, you throw something out there. It's like a Rorschach test. Then you kind of discern what you see in it. Build something out of that, then something will grab you. Once you get a general thing built, something will grab you, and you focus in on that, and then you may go back and revise literally everything else. Like I actually can look at this and say, you know, it's very tempting to just clip the head off of that and revise everything from the neck down into something completely different. But that head gives me a lot to think about. So, but that's, again, you know, that's the nature of concepting. You go into it knowing that it's like mining, okay? You have to sift for gold, and you may find some shiny rocks here and there that are kind of cool looking, but you're going to throw it away. It's still just junk. So, like on this, and as with many, many different concept sessions, you know, I would say 3/4 of what you produce is probably junk. Maybe even 90% of it is junk. Then that 10% that you can look at and really gets you excited, you get rid of the rest, and that's what you focus in on. I mean, even just like right here, if I come and zoom in where you don't see the rest of that body, and I just take a quick look at that head and snap a render of it, you know, even though it's rough clay strokes, and you can see, pixelation, or not pixelation, but you can see polygons and all that. Here, let's just subdivide it once. It really carries a lot of character with it. The head tells a bit of a story. You get an idea of, how this creature would eat. Obviously, how it sees. You have elements on that head that move together very obviously. It states some things. And I feel like the rest of the body, even right now, as I look at that head more, I'm not real happy with the rest of the body. The rest of that body is an okay idea that probably could live on somewhere else as something more dinosaurish. But the fact that it took doing that body to get to the head, that's kind of an important thing I want to leave folks with here. Is that a lot of times 75 to 90% of what you do in a concept session is garbage. You literally have to start throwing out garbage to sift through to where you hit something that makes you say, okay, now this is the thing that needs to be worked with. And then you start to go back through, refine it, build off that, throw the garbage away. A lot of times creative folks don't want to throw away their garbage. I'm really bad about that. I've gotten better about it through the years, meaning almost anything you make has value. Like the body of this does have some value. I will probably keep that body and use it for something else. It will definitely strike me in some other way for something else. The head on this strikes me really immediately. The head is something I want to develop out and build into a much better body construction than this, a much better body design than this, that fits the character of the head more. So in this instance, that head is the 10% that I want to keep. The other 90%, I want to chuck it. When I say I'm going to chuck it, I'm going to sit it aside. I'm going to probably cut it off, throw that aside. I'll come back and pull it up one day and go, this is something I threw away. Maybe I'll sculpt on this and see where it leads today. And then that may actually develop into an idea in itself that gets a head added to it or something changed in it that bears fruit. So there's this weird sort of space you have to be willing to live in where you're going to throw things away, you're going to cut stuff apart. It really is all exploration until you find that thing that speaks and says, this is a good idea. This is something to work with. So, and I feel like right here with this head, I've got something that I'm going to work with. So who knows? Maybe I'll cut that off and in tomorrow's stream or another stream down the line, I'll come back to it and we'll develop that out, into something else. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this morning. Thanks for joining me. Let's pop back over to my little Das Vidania headshot. And so let's take a look in the chat real quick before I have to take off. Yeah, Gina's wanted to stab me in the eye plenty of times. I see that in chat. Her saying, not that I haven't wanted to stab me in the eye. Oh, Sean's pulling out the Carl Jung. Yeah, props to my boy. I love Jungian psychology, man. Jungian psychology is the schnizzle. So I'm going to read back through here. Sean says, I have the feeling these morning live streams are going to be very good for me. Cool, man. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad somebody's digging it and getting something out of that. Let's see. Gina says, Sean, if you go back in his channel, he has a lot of helpful videos. Well, thank you. She says, not sure what channel they're on, but he also did a ton of live type things for... okay, what Gina was referring to there is I did for a year, maybe 2 years, I did a weekly live stream for a company that sells products for Poser and mostly Daz Studio these days, a company called CG Bytes, CGBYTES.com. Good folks. I haven't put anything new up there in a long time, which is kind of a shame. Terry, I know you're listening to me, and you're probably gonna kick my ass for that. But I'm still really good friends with the folks there. They had some tragedy behind the scenes with the company that sort of slowed some things down, and they've really rebounded well. Terry, for folks who don't know anything about it, Terry kind of runs. I don't want to say that she runs the whole show there, but she runs a lot of the show there, and she's really pulled that place back together after a tragedy hit the family, the ownership. I don't want to get into the details of that, but it was tragic. I lost a friend out of it, and I mean lost as in actually lost, like someone actually died. That was harsh. It was harsh what happened there. But CG Bytes is a great company, great folks, and I did these weekly seminars for them where I developed a method and a course of sorts for taking folks who know pretty much virtually nothing about 3D, saying, okay, if you're going to start, if you bought Zbrush and you're just starting out, or you're working with Maya, and I try to speak about the stuff conceptually enough that you could also apply it through other apps like Blender and other places. But basically the course was to help you go from nothing to being able to market yourself and sell, especially through them, original products for Poser and Daz Studio, mostly Daz Studio. I think I focused entirely on Daz Studio, actually. Daz Studio is just a much better platform. Much better platform. And the program is free. So if anyone's watching this, you want to dabble in some 3D, go grab Daz Studio. I got a long history with that company. Not always the best history, but it's gotten really good in the last few years. It's so funny the changes that management make in a lot of things, and management at Daz has gotten, for me, really great. And the folks there have become just amazing to work with. The software has matured like a boss. It's just such great stuff. So anyway, what Gina's referring to there, before I get too far down that rabbit hole, is the videos that I did. These were long too. Sometimes these things ran like 4 hours. But they were live videos done where literally each week we were stepping through another part of the process to bring a product to market. I actually know some folks who literally went from nothing to making a really good side hustle, if not their entire living, from a lot of stuff that was taught in that series, and that was really satisfying to me. And I think it helped a lot of folks. So I don't know. It's something that maybe resurrected in the future. May resurrect that at CG Bytes. May do it through my YouTube channel. I am really not sure. But that was fun. It was fun to do. It's fun to see what came out of that. I've watched Gina. Gina and I have known each other for a long time. Good God, since probably 2003. And I've watched her really grow through the years as an artist and with her skills and all that kind of stuff. So that stuff's all super cool to me. So I'm going to glance back over at the chat for a second. And as far as what channel they're on the CG Bytes YouTube channel. You can go find most, if not all of that over there. So, Sean says, Les is kind of in the same headspace I'm trying to be in, so I think this is what I needed to keep growing. Oh, that's cool, dude. Throwing out garbage. And then the Carl Young comment. Yeah, I cannot stress enough to people, get into some psychology. And for me personally, Jungian psychology is a big deal. It's a big thing. Thinking about archetypes, thinking about the shadow. The concept of the shadow is super important. Not just in your own development, like exploring what your shadow is, but if you're concepting, you're creating a character. If you're creating a character, you need to create a well thought out character, something that's very fleshed out. And nothing fleshes a character out like knowing its dark side. So, that's kind of digging into the Jungian stuff, and that's another rabbit hole I can jump down and just play around there for days. Let's see. Sean says, I'm getting into Dad's Studio. Got started in 3D with Poser. I know a lot of folks who did. Gina says, Daz and Sixus1 have a history like only you read about. Yeah. It goes way back. But, it's pretty good now. Let's see. Sean says, making a living at 3D stuff is where I want to go. Dude, it's doable. It's very doable. 3D, and I've been at 3D since the early 90s. Early to mid 90s, like 93, 94. So I do have a little bit of a jump on it to most folks. It's one of the reasons why I know I'm pretty quick, and a lot of that comes from just the experience, just being at it so long. A lot of stuff is just second nature now. But I've watched it grow. I've gotten to play a role in the growth of 3D as a viable art form for a lot of folks to get into, without necessarily having to go some of the places that some of the tougher places to go, like film and gaming and things like that, which I've done my share of work in those places. But this open sort of hobbyist space, where folks with some skill and some talent can create models, rig them, and do this kind of stuff, and get them out, and hobbyists and collectors will buy them from you. It's amazing what that opens up, just on a personal level. It's been a cornerstone of my career for 26, 27, going on 28 years. So, Gina says she's going to try to make it out here in the fall. Hey, come on down. We're here. Sean says Poser 2. Oh, man. Whew. Oh, my God. Remembers me with Rossity and Daz and oh, my God. Whew. Digging in some ancient history, folks. That's crazy. He was in it then and dropped out. Did construction. I have done my time in construction, brother. I did. When I first left Kentucky and when I was 19, I moved to Connecticut and worked for a construction company there during the week and busted my chops there. I will still say, as hard as the work was in construction, it was not as hard as growing up on a tobacco farm. So I was very accustomed to hard work, but yeah, dude, I did the work so that I could get an art career off the ground, and once that thing took off, I have not looked back. This is my life, man. Ashlock from way back then. Dude, Sean's, I guess it was an old screen name, Ashlock. It sounds familiar. It's been a long time and a lot of people. So, don't take offense if I don't recall it right off. But there's some familiarity there. So, yeah, Gina says you were involved in a lot of the growth but never got credit, which is, well, kind of shitty. Yeah, stuff happens. It's funny. A lot of folks who know me personally know that I love quotes. I have tons and tons of quotes I'll pull out from all kinds of people. And one that really means more and more to me as time goes on is actually from Ronald Reagan. He said, that something to the effect, and I think he had this in a placard on the Resolute desk. It said, you can something like you can accomplish anything so long as you don't mind who gets the credit. It's a very strange thing to say, because everybody would love to get credit for the things they're involved in. But it's amazing how many people don't. There's lots of stuff that happens that people love and get into and appreciate. And lots of people who play key roles in many, many things that we appreciate in this world never get an ounce of credit. But they still did it. And they still share in that accomplishment. So, is what it is. I've had my moments of bitterness with it, and I've learned to kind of move on from it. So, it's a thing. Um, oh my God. Whew. Yeah, I'm gonna peel off because we're starting getting into some history. I'm seeing some names get thrown around, and I'm not gonna get too deep into any of that. Like I said, it's the history is there. Some folks know, some folks don't. Is what it is, But I know for myself, I've rolled with things through the years and managed to build what I've built out of it, and now I have this studio that freaking rocks. I do 3D day in and day out. I also get to do comics day in and day out now, which was really what I started out to do when I was 19. And I did day in and day out for quite a few years too. I mean, I was probably 23 when I really stopped comics and focused almost entirely on 3D and animation and really on art directing, because at 23 I ended up art director for a company. So, it's all stories. Everybody's got their stories. Industries have their stories, and it's all good. I'm not hating on any of it anymore, and yeah, it's all pretty awesome. Gina says, but do you take the time to also live your life now? This is my life. This is my life. That's actually something that a lot of folks don't understand. I have sometimes folks will say things to me about, oh, you've accomplished so much, you've achieved so much, and I'm like, dude, I haven't achieved jack. I haven't even begun to hit what I intend to hit. I'm just getting started. It's so funny. I mean, I know I've been able to make a living and be a professional artist for 20 some years now, and I get it. I do know that is not, that it's a fiercely competitive world, and to be able to do that is an accomplishment. I've come to appreciate that maybe more than I used to, but it's not. No, it's scratching the surface. We've only scratched the surface. I'm 47 years old. I am 47 years old. Oh, my camera isn't doing its little autofocus thing because I move too much. I'm too animate. I'm 47 years old, so I figure I'm probably, given my health, fitness level, longevity in my family, I'm probably about dead center of my lifespan right now. If I've done this in 47 years, I feel like I am just getting started. I'm really curious to see what the next 40 years are going to bring. I think they're going to be awesome. I think the world itself is on its way to some interesting changes, and if we don't completely blow ourselves up, it's going to be pretty wild. And I know there's lots of stuff I'm involved in that I tend to stay kind of out on the edge of a lot of that stuff, and the future is... There are ways it can go off the rails, but I'm confident it's going to be solid. The future is going to be bright. The future is bright for the world, bright for everyone, and I know my future is wildly bright. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff going on behind the scenes right now. Pieces of my own puzzle that I put into place, literally some things up to 10 years ago, that are just now. The gears of that machine are just now coming together, and what it's building is going to be awesome. So yeah, it's very cool. Gina said, Les, you have no idea how much I needed to hear you say you're just getting started. Oh yeah. I just getting started. Trust me. There is so much stuff coming. There's so much stuff coming in just the next year. Like, we're into May. I know that by the end of a year from now, I will either have out, or they will be done and waiting for their release date, 2 more graphic novels. There may actually be a prose novel, a fiction novel, actual text novel, somewhere along the way of that. My studio is now getting into boutique collectibles, and we've got some crazy stuff coming together. I just made a purchase yesterday toward that, and some things are coming in. Gina knows my house, so what is currently my garage is well on its way to becoming an expansion for my shop. And there's some gear and things that are going to go in there that's going to do some wild stuff. My relationship with my publisher, SourcePoint Press, is off the hook. So there's cool things coming there. There's also entrepreneurs that I mentioned earlier who, there's some events coming up from that that I think I'm supposed to be one of the keynote speakers for. And some interesting things there to help artists out. So there is so much coming. Like I said, I really have only scratched the surface. I'm just getting started. And it's amazing. One of these days I'll write a book about it. One of these days I'll probably look back. I don't like to think, if you look back too much, I feel like people who are looking back too much do it because they don't have things to look forward to. I have so much to look forward to. I'm just like, yeah, whatever that is back there, it's behind me now. Go away. It's done. It's done and gone. I'm looking ahead. So yeah, one of these days maybe I'll take a month to sit down and look back and just write it all down, or some outline of it, and say, okay, here's a memoir or something. Some of the goofy crap I've been through. Anyway. So, swing away, Merle. Leah, Brent's always fun. There's actually two people in the chat who've been to my house, Gina and Brent both. Brent spent a week here. We were like flying drones and stuff out over Cave Run Lake and had some fun with that. So, so many positive vibes. It's like maybe we can't lose. Nice, Sean. All right, folks. Well, I am as usual starting to run over my time a little bit. I kind of get to talking, and I do enjoy that. Brett says I spent a week alienating your dog. Yeah, but I brought Finnegan. Gina talks about her dog. She had her little dog Finnegan. Her little dog Finnegan is the funniest little dog ever. I mean, he is a quadruped Ewok with an attitude, and he's hilarious. So, man. Yeah, Gina, Brent was here, like, had Heisenberg's eyes on him the entire time. Brent was sleeping on the couch, and Heisenberg was just like, whew. Everything was, whew. Every time Brent would move, Heisenberg would be like, it was so funny. Heisenberg is such a nerd. Well, folks, I need to hop off. I got a ton of stuff to get onto, but it's cool hanging out, cool getting to talk to some folks. Heisenberg did not trust you. No, Heisenberg doesn't trust anyone. But super cool hanging out, seeing some folks in the chat and all that. As always, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, ring-a-ding-ding. Bring your friends, bring folks along. I'd like to see this grow. I'd like to see the channel grow a little bit. Not that I'm trying to be some kind of stinking YouTuber or whatever. I mean, again, nothing against that. That's not really the goal. This is more of just a means of reaching out to folks and saying, hey guys, let's hang out, let's do this art thing, share some stuff, share links, talk about things, and so on. So, anyway, yeah, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, go to Sixus1.com, join the mailing list. I think next week we should start doing that at least. Mailings will probably go out bi-weekly, like every other week, if not weekly. So we'll see. Anyway, till next time, probably till tomorrow morning. I'm out. See y'all around. Thanks.